Hello, everybody, and welcome to our next episode of our Rimworld Gravship series, where we're following Sydney, Maddie, and Yeti in their journey of being seemingly endlessly pursued by the mech hive. I did get the feedback on the first couple of episodes that the mic was coming in a little bit soft. I think I've gotten that worked out, but if you think it needs a little bit more tweaking still, please feel free to let me know in the comments. For those of you who are on the Discord, you can also let me know there. I think we're in a pretty good space though, but I will continue to tweak and improve it as best I can over time. Where we left things last time, we had Randy gifted us some yaks for some reason. I have noticed in my playthroughs in the past that he's a little bit more generous in the beginning and then seems to be a little bit more cruel later on. I know there's not really any built-in logic with Randy in that way, but it's making me a little paranoid. So we're going to see if he has something else in store for us as we continue through this Let's Play. But at least for the time being, he's been fairly generous. We've got our first haul of crops so far. We've been doing some research to get batteries. We're currently researching solar panels in order to try to be a bit more self-sufficient, get our lights, get our refrigerator up and running, especially now that we have yak's milk that will spoil in 14 days. And then we also want to grow some food for our new pets. I think the big question is going to be, what do we do with these guys? I mean, there is value to them. We could always sell them if we wanted to, but you know, if we decide to take them with us, that will be some extra baggage that we have to sort of keep an eye on. But we'll see. We'll play it by ear. We still have plenty of time. We don't have a set time for when the mech hive is going to be approaching. So we'll continue as is. I think one other major priority we have coming up is some defenses. We are in a pretty okay spot where we have one relatively large entrance into our base. And we're ready to launch again if we'd like to, but we'll stick around for a little longer. Yeah, so we do have kind of a large entrance here, even though it is only on one side, but we do want to reinforce this somewhat and try to reduce the odds that our trio gets murdered before we get a chance to take off. That may have happened in our stream playthrough, which you're always welcome to join us on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. with my friend Kaz. Let's see. Research is continuing. Let's see, we need to start planning out our crops. We'll just go ahead and go nuts with our growth here. We will grow hay grass for them, and we're going to set it to... I wish there was a way to leave... like, even when it is fully grown, I wish there was a way to leave it, just so that the animals can just sort of feed off of it as is, but it's fine. We'll at least disallow cutting so that they only do it when the harvest is ready. So I believe, yeah, Yeti will get around to that once she hits a bit of a checkpoint with her research. It's gonna make our research take a little bit longer, but that's fine. With this additional ingredient, I think we can do more in terms of dining. It's just a question of how much milk we'll actually get over time. Let's see, is there a way to check that? Milk amount, milking interval 1 day. We get 11 milk per day. That's pretty good. I think that would be 2 fine meals per day if we use 5 milk each, which isn't exactly enough to give us an upgraded diet, but it's something. Yeah, I've been really enjoying this playthrough series though so far. I'm always looking for more reasons to play Rimworld, and I'm really happy to have found one. But I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. And again, if there is any feedback you'd like to provide, you're obviously more than welcome to share it with us. I know the first few episodes have been a little slower. We're just kind of getting our bearings. Randy's been fairly docile so far, so there's not a whole lot for us to comment on other than just sort of what's happening around us, but I believe that it'll probably pick up sooner rather than later. If it's anything like the luck we have with our stream save. And I think one of the challenging things, too, is when Odyssey came out, anything prior to Odyssey, you generally, I mean, you had runs where you could do a more nomadic lifestyle, but it was a bit more challenging. Odyssey did kind of flip that on its head a little bit. So for me, adapting to Odyssey, where I haven't done a complete playthrough quite yet with this DLC, is adjusting my priorities. Because when you're in a fixed spot for saves prior to Odyssey, or when you're not using a Gravship run, you kind of have a build order. You have your own meta that you kind of follow, where you may start with a barracks, you'll build storage, maybe work on a refrigerator, get power up and running, farm. But with a Gravship, you are kind of balancing between upgrades to your ship and any other freestanding structures you may have around it. You're obviously not able to stay here forever, so you kind of have to be ready to leave within a pretty short period of time, but also make the most of the time that you do have in a particular map. So that's why trying to mine what we can from the steel nodes, getting the components that we can, and making sure we don't leave too much behind, because future maps may not have as much wealth that we can capitalize on. For instance, this is a massive node of compacted steel, and I'm not sure we'll be able to get all that, especially due to the travel distance from our ship. But we can try. The big question will be when the mechanoids will find us. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. I think there may be a set amount of time between discovery, but I'm not really sure what that is. If you know, feel free to let me know in the comments, though. Let's speed things up a little bit. Maddie is doing a fair amount of cleaning. It doesn't look like... Oh, she cleaned the inside, too. I know our main room here was looking a little bit rough. Let us... Here, what we can do is... Let's bring our bed inside. And we will re-assign this. Let's see, that's Yeti and Maddie. So we will make this Yeti's, and this can be Maddie, and then this will be Sydney's. And that will start to... We want to start to move them into the ship. Now that we have a better... Well... Also, though, will they repair this if we claim it? That bumped my wealth up a lot. Not really. Okay. Yes, they will. Can we reinstall? We cannot reinstall. Never mind. Would have been nice to have that moved inside, but it is what it is. I think we do have a lot of components, so I think it would be worth working on our power. And we want to try to pick the best place to put some batteries, because they aren't... I don't think you can remove them once they've been built, but I could be wrong. So I think... let's see. I'm trying to think also in terms of what would make the most sense as we expand the ship further. Because we're not even halfway to our capacity of what we can build. And we still have 257 Gravelite panels. So we can still expand it quite a bit, but we want to make sure that we're pretty responsible with where we put things, because some things are going to be easier to move around than others. So we can tear down walls. These are just steel. We can get more steel. We can rearrange things generally, but things like the refrigerator, I believe batteries, you will have to deconstruct and rebuild, which will cost you components, which is a much harder to obtain material than just steel or wood or other materials like that. But I think if we just we could just build up from here into a bit of a, let's see. Yeah, I think we could do that. If we have the same hallway going up like this, and then we have just a very small battery room to where we could have, let's see. Yeah, doesn't need to be huge. So here will be the wall. We can expand this out a little bit more. We'll go ahead and set this up to expand this out just a little bit more. But hallway, wall, and then we'll set up a small battery room, but then we can still expand it back this way later on. This is not going to be an enormously beautiful ship design, I think, at the moment. So please be patient with me as we build this out. But I think that should get us started, and then we can build a wind turbine just to get some power in the meantime while solar panels are getting researched. Got a ram just chilling in our cave over here. Solitary Knight. So we do have a new quest. Basil Bringus, a knight of the Empire of the Spirit, is calling from nearby. His guards were killed in an ambush. He escaped, but is now being followed by a man-hunting crow. Bringus wants you to keep him safe at the Gravship landing site for a few hours until his shuttle can come pick him up. He will bestow 8 honor on whoever accepts this quest. This is enough honor to receive the royal title of novice and all the benefits that come with it, including the first level of psychic powers. I'm not gonna really go for that. I've not done like a lot of royalty stuff similar to my playthroughs with Anomaly. I've not really dived super deep into it, so I think that would be fun for another playthrough though. So maybe an Anomaly playthrough and a royalty playthrough, so you can see just how amateur I am at at those sides of the game as well. But probably not for this playthrough. I really want to focus on the Gravship side. I don't see these three, especially being female supremacists, as being particularly sympathetic to a lot of the causes on this Rimworld. I think they're going to be more concerned with themselves, staying alive, accruing wealth, and just generally looking out for themselves. So we'll see if that changes over time, but that's kind of the idea that I have for them at the moment. What are we short on? Steel. Oh no, I think Maddie's just taking a little break. That's right. But yeah, I think that is something to potentially maybe try for in the future if the series does pretty well, if you guys enjoy watching it. I know I'm still trying to find my voice with solo playthroughs as opposed to what I typically do on stream, where I often have someone in voice with me and I'm interacting with chat, so feel free to give feedback on how I'm doing. All right, let's see. Got that set up. So let's start our little hallway. Let's get rid of this. Copy. And then this is going to look really goofy, but we want to just expand these walls out. And then probably have it cut straight across here. I think that will work. Well, I may as well just do this. Get our door. Do a steel door. Ooh. I don't know if I like how this looks, actually. I think we may want to go out one further, so we have a bit of a walkway before getting into where the batteries are. So let's cancel these buildings and then set it out one more tile. And then I think we'll be in pretty good shape there. Let's see. Sydney is... This is an insane amount of steel. I do want to say that. I don't know how much we've gotten, probably close to, it's got to be over 1,000 steel from this, because we were at 0 before, and this is a huge node. So I think it will probably be worth trying to get this other node, because if it's anything like that first one, then we will be set for steel for maybe not a long time, but for a decent amount of time as we build our ship out. Here's another node here, and then there's another one right here. And in the course of it, maybe we'll find some more components as well. I would not be upset about that. All right, getting the floor built. Let's see if she'll finish it before she goes to bed. She will. Excellent. All right, so now we're going to let this be, we're going to extend this entrance out here. And we are going to build out a separate wall here. And then once these walls are finished, once we get this covered, we can install our batteries. We will go ahead and deconstruct these walls. So now this is all considered inside. Then we should... I mean, this doesn't look that bad. It is a little blocky. I think we could maybe get rid of this, actually. And I want to see... I can't remember if you get the Gravlight panel back when you deconstruct a floor, but I hope so. Visitor. A budding artist from the League of Manoa Bacam is visiting the colony. He is named Kago Empaizada. Okay. What are you like? 18 years old. You're an artist, obviously. Ooh, chemical fascination. Neurotic is nice. Body modder is pretty cool, but that chemical fascination. Oh, you're also unwaveringly loyal. So... if you've not played much Rimworld in the past, and I may have talked about this on stream, but you know, you could theoretically kidnap anyone you want, arrest anyone you want, and try to force them into your... Am I building the wrong walls? I am. That's embarrassing. Oh man, that's crazy. I will explain that in a moment. Let's cancel these. And I want this to look consistent. That's terrible. Let's just... I don't want to accidentally deconstruct the floors, so let's do this again. Oh man, I should have noticed this. All right, that's fine. We can work around this. That's a quick fix. Oh, anyway. So you can arrest anyone you want generally, and for the most part, you can, you know, imprison them, force them to your cause by recruiting them or enslaving them. There are exceptions, though, for recruitment. So when someone has this flag for unwaveringly loyal, which says Kago is so loyal to his home that he will refuse to be recruited if taken prisoner, means that there is no way to recruit them. So even if I wanted this guy to join our colony as just a normal pawn, we would not be able to. So that can be a bit of a downer sometime when you manage to capture somebody during a raid that would be just incredible for your colony. It's such a shame when that happens, but it happens. That is the nature of it, unfortunately. All right, steel Gravship hull. Let's cancel that one because we want to test out. We want to get that corner looking a little nicer. Same here. Let's bring this down. Cancel that, and then build one there and there. I think that will do it. And then let's also remove the foundation here, and also actually here as well. So we can get that sleek, nifty look. That'll do. Okay. Sorry, Maddie, you have to redo just about all of that. But you're doing great. Yeah, I really like the diagonal walls they've added to this DLC. I know it only applies to the Gravship structure, but it just looks great. Big fan of it. I suppose we can go ahead and build our steel door here as well. We still have so much steel, and there's so much of it that we just haven't collected yet because we don't have room. So I think actually one of the next things we'll probably need is storage. So once we get this all set up, yep, we do get the Gravlight back, which is perfect. I feel like I knew that you would, but I don't trust my memory sometimes. I'm not as young as I used to be. Let's see. Batteries. So let's start with just, I think 2 batteries for now. We'll probably do fine, but we have room for 2 more here, and then we could do 1 more here. I think that would be perfect. So let's build a wind turbine just to kind of get us going. And let's do right here. We can do a hidden conduit here, connecting into there. So the hidden conduit, if you're working on power for your base, you'll generally, so normal power conduits only take 1 steel. The hidden conduit, which is a obviously hidden. You can't see it when it's underground, which can make for a very ugly, ugly look. And I think it does reduce the beauty of your colony too. But I believe the hidden conduit also does not. Yeah, they're tougher than regular conduits, but also slower to build and more expensive. So there is a random event that can occur called Bzzzt, where it's basically like a short in your conduits, your fuses, that can cause your batteries to drain completely. It can cause a fire, it can cause an explosion, and I don't know if it fully reduces the risk by using a hidden conduit, but it at the very least reduces it from its baseline with the power, and it only costs an extra steel. So I would say generally it's worth it. Again, steel is not the hardest thing to get, especially in Odyssey, where you're not limited to your single map over time. I think when you're playing a traditional session where you're stuck on one map for the entire game, you do kind of run into that resource problem where you just cannot get enough steel because you've mined out your map. You're relying on trade or traveling to other sites to raid or to barter with other factions. Yeah, but now granted, I could be wrong on this, and we will find out as this save progresses, assuming we don't get killed by Randy very early on. So we're getting this set up, and great. We are getting our batteries, and then let's make sure everything's connected. It is. So you can see we are starting to get a little bit of storage of power. Not a lot, but at the same time, we're currently not using any. So our first order of business, I will say we still have a little bit of time before this food spoils. Actually, let's get food off of, well, let's link their settings here. There we go. And then let's get rid of food so that they will move the food into our actual fridge. But we have 11 days until the milk spoils. We have 36 days until the rice spoils, so we're not quite make or break. And I will say the milk is a bit of a luxury that we continue to get more of every single day. So if we lose a little bit of it, I'm not gonna panic, but we'll try to salvage it if we can. But what I do want is let's run it this way down, because we can't run it here because then it will not be on the ship, and we don't have that corner right here. I guess we could run it through here, but we don't really need that. Let's build a couple of wall lamps, and then same thing in here, just to get this looking a little nicer. There, put one in the kitchen, put one in the dining area. I think that'll do for right now. Let's build a wall here to seal this off. So this will take a bit of time, but adding lights into their bedrooms or their barracks, I should say, it's not quite fancy enough to have their own bedrooms, will improve their the room quality a little bit, make them a little bit happier, as opposed to, I think do they not have, I think it's more if they ate in the dark, or I can't remember which moodlet is connected to that. Darkness, yeah. So they do get a negative moodlet. So if they've been in the ship for a while working on things and they don't have sufficient light, they will get a negative moodlet for being in the darkness, basically. And for the barracks, they do get a disturbed sleep negative moodlet. So it depends on how many times it occurred. Doesn't seem like it really bothered her. What about, so Yeti got one, Maddie got just one. Okay, so that's actually not that bad. So we're not really in a hurry to give them their own bedrooms. Here we go. Lights are coming on. The downside, though, as we continue to add more things onto the grid, is we'll see if one wind turbine is enough to keep things powered. Probably not, especially if we bring on our air conditioner. So that's another reason I'm not in such a hurry to get that up and running quite yet. Although I just realized it is going to turn on as soon as this connects. So I guess we will just see what happens. Bring this down to below freezing. And then, yeah. See on the right, indoors, 30 degrees, right here. And it goes based on where the cursor is. So indoors, 34 degrees. It is, our food is frozen. So yak's milk now will not spoil so long as our air conditioner has power. And we're doing okay on this, I will say, but we do have some... Wait, what's block? Oh, you're blocking it. If you have trees in the way, that will block your wind turbine's effectiveness. So we'll chop down that one tree. Hopefully soon. Perhaps. Okay, we've almost gotten all the steel, at least. That is a crazy amount of steel. We're back up to almost 1,000. That's absolutely insane. Okay, so now we're at... Wait, we're still blocked by a poplar tree. Oh, this little guy. Let's see. So our efficiency should go up. There we go. Increased a little bit. I think if we were considered to be in a plain area, like a flatland, this would maybe default to be a bit higher as opposed to in the mountains, but I'm not so sure how that math works out. Let's see. Research is continuing. Solar panels are just about done. 481 out of 600. And then I'm going to do advanced lights. We're not really at risk of anything else at the moment. I know I say that, and I should knock on wood because as soon as those words came out of my mouth, that probably doomed us to a raid. But advanced lights is really helpful because, I mean, on the one hand, you can customize the color of your lights, but it reduces their power consumption by half, which is extremely helpful because they use 30 watts currently, and so that's 30 times however many lights you have on the ship. And compare that to the cooler, which uses 200 watts. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. We're using more electricity for the lights currently than we are for our refrigerator. So it doesn't seem like it would be a lot when you think about lights not using that much power, but as you expand and install more lights, it does become really consequential. Let's get us now that we have a dining room, let's get it's kind of an awkward looking room, isn't it? I think eventually we'll want to nudge this up so it's more square, and then we can do something like this when we have more colonists, if we have more colonists. But for now, I think we will just want to make it easily accessible from both sides. So we have plenty of wood. Let's try to build some nice chairs and see how that goes. Don't know how optimistic I am that we can build nice ones, but we can hope. And then the last thing we want to do is get an electric stove. How much power does this use when it's being utilized? 350 watts when it's being used. When we're cooking a lot of food at once, this will absolutely burn our power down. If we were to use a fueled stove, does it say how much? It doesn't, but I think it'll probably be fine. We can always swap it out if we need to. So let's do this, and then we'll get a stool. It's not a pretty room. They're not going to be super happy working in there, but it will do for now. Eventually we could maybe put in, I don't know if we'll put in better floor or some decorations or something. All right, kick our speed up. We're growing some, oh, we haven't fully finished this yet, but, and they are hungry. They should be eating the grass, which I think they are, but it's hard to tell. I do wonder if we were to expand this out a bit. So if we were to fence off like here, up, and then connect it here, and then just wall this off, if they would consider this entire area their pen, and then they just have free access to tall grass that they could eat whenever they want without having necessarily to wait for hay grass to grow. But that could be worth checking out. All right, so their mood should get a little better. No womanly rector. Oh, right, we need to... Oh, are we out of meals? We're out of meals, so we actually really do need to start cooking. So I had mentioned earlier well, I guess they drank the milk, actually, so never mind on that. There's different tiers of food. So you could have a simple meal, which uses 10 of one ingredient, a fine meal, which uses 5 of 2 ingredient, which would be protein or meat plus a vegetable, lavish meal, which has 10 of each, and then you can also do, it looks like vegetarian fine meals. I actually don't know if they've added this in with the DLC or not. I don't remember seeing this before. Maybe I just didn't pay enough attention. But it's good to know that you could use 5 more of an ingredient to get a fine meal with just one ingredient, as opposed to needing a balance of protein and vegetables. But for now, we want to set up just some simple meals so they're not eating raw food, because that does hurt their mood pretty badly. We'll do just 10, and we will have them start cooking at 5 so that they're not constantly refilling. But that does mean they'll probably end up cooking most days, and we'll set that as a priority 1. So Maddie's going to get to work on that. You can see just needs... Well, that should not be such an issue after today. Disturbed sleeps. Yeah, 8 raw food minus 7. We do want to get that. We do want to get that womanly rector role filled. So maybe we build a... should build a room for that. But I'm realizing we're a bit over on time, so I think we'll have to save that for next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've been enjoying the series so far. I know it's been a little bit slow getting started. Rimworld runs tend to start off a little slower. I kind of thought it might be a little bit more risky playing at a higher difficulty than I typically do, but you know, it's early, so we'll see what Randy throws at us in the future. As a reminder, you are welcome to catch me live on Twitch on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. The link will be in the description below. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon.